All right, should be good to go.
Okay, buddy. Hope you're doing good today.
Yep, yep. We got us a little down market everyone's staring at, but I don't know if you saw my video earlier. Guy was sending me a Twitter channel that follows the Litecoin whale wallets, and these people are buying epically more than they're selling, like unbelievable. 23,000 added Litecoin to their the top 50 wallets in like 15 minutes, and another 15 minutes goes by and it's 22,000. Like, and that's after deducting the amount they're selling, which means they're not really selling, they're buying. So um, we we're just chatting, and for everybody listening, we want to show you something with this chart. It may look familiar, so it's just I know everyone's all scared, nervous today. Uh, Trader boss, are you scared today?
I am not scared today.
Not scared, and I
Nothing
think
about me scared. Nothing about the market is scaring me. And what I can also say to that is that if a person is scared, it's just because you've never experienced it before. That's all.
yep,
That's what we're here to talk with.
yep. That's
Go ahead.
why we are doing this video today for everybody.
Absolutely. Well,
So
let's jump in here, Joe.
go for it.
Um, I first want to start out with kind of a clean screen here so that people can see just price. And I think the first thing that you have to actually understand if you're going to get into the realm of investing, let's just don't call it trading, because for the most part in crypto, we're all hodlers. I don't day trade. I very seldom day trade. I have day traded a few times back when Neo was Ant shares. I was day trading. It was moving so fast that it was fantastic to day trade. But mostly, I'm a hodler, meaning that I'm an investor. And so I look for coins that we can get into that we're going to be involved in that coin for, anywhere from probably 4 weeks up to maybe 3 months, and some of them much longer. I have purchases I've made that I know are 2, 3 years out. For example, Populous. That's definitely a long-term hold for me, just as one example. But the most important thing to me as a trader is price. That's why you don't see 9 million indicators on my charts when I come online to share charts. I'm not an indicator guy from the perspective of, I'm not going to look at all the momentum indicators from the perspective of MACD or RSI or any of those. The most important thing to me is price. The second most important thing to me is from a charting perspective, is candlesticks. Okay. Third to me is volume. And fourth to me is your candlestick patterns. So today, what I want to talk about is price, candlesticks, pattern, and I want to throw a little bit of a twist in here. Most people that I see on the internet talking about charting, they never take into account any of the upcoming fundamentals. So I want to throw that in here too, just a little bit. So that's kind of the format we're going to take. So let's just get started here. I want to ask you guys a question. Do you recognize anything? Is there anything that looks familiar to you here? Absolutely. There's something that looks familiar. The Wall Street cheat sheet. I don't usually ever share trading without talking about the cheat sheet. What are we always looking for? We're looking for where we are in the cycle. So this shows you guys where we are in the cycle. Now, can I absolutely with certainty say that depression is over and we're now headed up? No, I cannot. The chart will have to play out. I don't care how long you've been charting, trading, or any of the above. I don't care what your track record of success is. Trading is about, when you guys were in school, you went through algebra 1, 2, and maybe 3 and beyond. And when you were doing algebra, they used to tell you everything you do on one side of the equation, you got to do on the other side, right? So it was basically an if this, then this. And that's what trading is. Trading is if this, then this. So right now I could say to you, if this right here was the end of depression, then this, we're going to start the new trend. However, that has to prove itself first. But if this is not, then that puts us back here at the top of anger, which would have been right in here on our chart. And now we're going to go into depression, really good and big for another week or two, which could take us down to about 5,000. And I'll show you guys that. And it's not unusual for any asset that you're trading to do what I call a blowover of a trend line just to come back up, because that area right there, panic selling kicks in. People sell off their positions that were holding all through this, and it's that one last drop and then right back up again. And you see it in the charts all the time. All the time it's there. So anyway, I wanted to show you guys this from a cheat sheet perspective. You know, I believe that we could possibly, this right here could have been depression. And the only reason that I say it could have been is just simply for one reason. Bitcoin moves faster than every other asset you've ever seen in your life. Being that it moves faster, the chart will look a little bit different. So for example, this whole area here, all these days on a normal chart, and this could even be weeks on a normal chart, Bitcoin can do that in a week. And it looks a little different because it's sharper. This final drop we had, it did create some capitulation right here. And we're going to see if that holds. But anyway, let's get into this real quick. Let me get rid of this. And we'll blow the screen out just a hair. Keep you guys full screen. So I'm on a 12-hour chart. The definition of a trend line is 2 points in a previous time frame of a chart that you can match up with a third. So we have 2 here, and we still have not quite had the third spot. Now, I'm not on a log chart. I'm just on a regular chart, so no logarithmic here. This is just regular trading, regular chart. The logarithmic charts are typically used a lot by institutional traders, and that's fine. But I'm just going with basic. We are still above our line, which started in 2017 in July. Now, I can blow this chart out as far as you want to go, and you'll see that there's no other place that I can connect that line on the bottom side. There is a second line. If you want to put that in, you could do this. You could put in a second line there. So we still haven't hit that one. Okay, there's your second line. So we'll leave that in there for you guys. Otherwise, that is our line that we've been talking about, gosh, for too many days. Over 100 days now, I think. But let's talk about it. I'm going to get it here in the middle. First thing we see here, obviously, Bitcoin takes off, goes to 20,000. Huge run for Bitcoin. Huge run. I do want to point out to you guys that Bitcoin last year, in the year of 2017, it went up roughly, give or take a little percentage, about 1,500%. So, let's see, is that right? Where did it start? Let's get it right. Let's don't guess.
It was around 800, I think. I mean, depending on the day, but it was 800, 900, 1,000.
Yeah, okay, so $900. Actually, we're looking at more like 2,000%. Actually, a little over that. So if we started the year at $900, which it looks like we're pretty close right there, $900 for the year. Does that sound about right, Joe? $900, $1,000 at the start.
Yeah, exactly.
So to 10,000 would be 1,000%, and to 20,000 would be 2,000%. So Bitcoin went up 2,000%. And I would not be doing you guys justice if I didn't bring this up right here before I go any further about this percentage. I get emails from people sometimes and they go, geez, I got into this coin at $4 and man, it only went up to $35. Only $35, really? Only 450%. That's not bad. So, what I want to tell you guys is don't get so spoiled that you turn greedy and you start looking at percentages in crypto and you're not selling your positions. You know, I told people for weeks and weeks and weeks that when EOS got in the $20 zone, I was planning to take some profits. And I have people emailing me now going, you know, are you still holding your EOS? Well, those people didn't pay very good attention. The idea was to ride it from 50 cents up near $20 and gain and capture that 4,000% growth. If you're not capturing any of it because you go, oh, I just know in the future it's going to go to 200. Well, guys, you need to get out now and save time and money because there are no guarantees in this game. Everything I'm going to talk to you about right now, there is no guarantee. That's why it's called speculation. It's because we're speculating. And you never hardly ever see me use a past chart to talk about a future chart. Because if you've been around investing and you've been around the asset markets for any time at all, you know that past results is not indicative of future results, not ever. So don't look at it that way. Don't go, well, Bitcoin always does this. No, Bitcoin can change tomorrow. Let $10 trillion worth of money flow into Bitcoin this year, and it's going to act completely different than it did last year. Completely different. So guys, take your profits. When you see big profits, my goodness, lock some of them in. Don't sit there and ride that thing way up, because here's why this is so important for me to mention right here. If you guys will consider the fact that from time to time you get a double whammy with crypto, meaning that your crypto of choice is going up. It's going up whether it be because of good news or lots of traders are flowing in or whatever it happens to be. And at the same time, Bitcoin is going up. Well, nobody ever really mentions the prospect of what would happen if, you know, your coin is going down and Bitcoin is going down. Like literally, if both of those are going down, your chart doesn't even have to go back to its old low and your price could be lower. So when you guys see big profits on any coin, man, don't be greedy. Don't get complacent. Don't be spoiled. Take some profits, guys. I'm not saying you have to sell it all. I sold all my EOS except for maybe 9,000 coins. And so now I've been buying back in with all my profit. However, guess what? My profit's a little lower because Bitcoin came down. So see how that works? You guys have to make sure you're taking your profits. All right, so let's get out of the chart here. So these are our two big support lines, mainly this one here that we're still on top of, that has created our entire market cycle. And what I want to show you guys is some bullishness that's still here. The first thing, number one, is price. Where is price? Price is still above our line. Are there other lines? Of course there are. But we're looking at the longest lines we have in history. And that's what we're looking at, is the longest ones we have that are represented by price. So price is still above the trend line. That's bullish. Bullish point number one. Now, let's start taking a look at some patterns here. And you'll see these patterns. When you see patterns happening over and over again, in the trading world, they call that fractals. Okay? So let's connect some dots here on this one. Now, you see how we have this bullish flag right here that we prematurely broke out of it, really, because we didn't really finish it. A lot of times the compression will go much deeper. But again, I believe Bitcoin is still very bullish, and that's how come we don't get to those lower numbers. So in this bullish flag right here, we can connect our dots from here to here to here and all the way down. And we look at right here where we had this little throwback. That's what I was trying to tell you guys. A lot of times in trading, it likes to throw back, where it throws out of a pattern like that and then goes right back in and out the top. This part right here causes a lot of people to go short or to sell their positions. And I'm not here to say that that's not possibly happening by design. It's not my place to say or not. I would give you my opinion. Possibly it's by design. So that was this was the huge influx of selling after going from 5,500 to 20,000. Okay, and all this happened right here in 27 days, 5,500 to 20,000. You guys have to stop and think for just 1 minute. Just 1 minute, stop and think. Is there going to be a big correction when something has taken 8 years to get to a certain price and then it triples in price in 27 days? Please stop and think about that and think about the ramifications of that. When you stop and think about that, that's when you realize, oh, yeah, this correction is fairly normal because there is nothing, even Bitcoin, that goes straight up. Nothing. Okay? Now, let's go down here and take a look at what happened next. This was all big volume selling, okay? Big volume. This was the biggest portion of our selling. When does a trend change? A trend changes, for example, when we started down here at 3,000 and we traded all the way up from 3,000 to 20,000, or you could even go from here where we started at 1,900 and traded all the way up over these days into 20,000. When the buyers finally disappear, your trend changes. When the price gets so high that all of a sudden there are no new buyers, you'll have a change in trend. What are we looking at now? We almost have no more buyer or no more sellers left. Let me show you that. Let's look at our second bull flag that Bitcoin has created and now broken out of. There's your second one. Does that flag look bigger or smaller? That flag is much smaller. Guess why? There's less sellers. So we're losing the ability to continue to fall because there's less sellers. And again, that doesn't mean Bitcoin's not going to make a new low. It very well might. I don't know. I wish I could tell you I have the crystal ball here on my desk and it's absolutely not going to make a new low. It's going to go higher. I can give you my my anticipation, both sides of the trade, and we'll do that. We'll do that in a minute. But let's look at one more bull flag. Is that bull flag smaller or bigger? Oh yes, again, it's smaller. So we have a very big bull flag, we have a medium size, and we have a small one, all of which are on top of and above the price point, our support line. Our support line is holding here. Now, if you go start changing your chart around, you look at a logarithmic chart, and you change up some of your parameters, you might see it to be below the line. I don't look at it that way. I do all my trading by keep it simple, stupid. So from a price perspective and from a charting pattern, I see us right now being actually bullish. We're still above our bull line from all the way back into last year. And again, we have another one that's down lower. If we pick that right in here, yeah, it's 4,000. So, you know, everybody's talking about Bitcoin could go down to $3,000, and it can. Bitcoin can go to zero, folks. Make no mistake about it. Do you guys remember a couple weeks ago, our president signed a bill into office making it illegal to buy a specific currency for another country? You guys need to understand that that bill could have very well had Bitcoin on it. Now, it didn't, and I don't think it will. I think our president has surrounded himself with people that are pro-crypto, if you look into his cabinet. But it could have. So understand, if you guys are in this arena, anything can happen. I love it when I hear all these other traders go, hey, if this happens, we are going down. Or if this happens, we are going up. No, what they should be saying is, if this is happening, I would kind of expect to see the follow through, and the follow through of that is that we go in this direction. They shouldn't be saying it like, oh, this is absolutely a definite, because it's not, folks. It is just not a definite. Let me explain this to you. Bitcoin down in here, when we started coming up and making a higher low and a higher low, and then here we broke those lows. Bitcoin, after this total correction here, was beginning to look like it was going to start heading north again. We had another line that was created right in here. Okay, there was our line, and everybody was expecting from here to here a new higher low here, up again a new higher low. It felt like Bitcoin was ramping up. I even myself said, by the chart, it looks like within about 14 or 15 days we could be back up here at our line, potentially breaking out to go. I mean, we'd had 60, 70 days of correction. Now, here's the thing that nobody could have anticipated. It was down at these levels in here that the guy from Mt. Gox started selling. All this selling in here is Mt. Gox. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the first orders came in right there on this last little drop. So from that perspective, how are you as a chartist going to be able to understand or even predict fundamental news? You're not. How are you going to be able to predict it now? You're not. So my point is this: while on a weekly chart, Bitcoin looks pretty bearish. It really does, I'll admit that. But on a weekly chart, Bitcoin was looking really bullish about 5 weeks ago, really bullish. And people were anticipating, hey, it won't be long, we'll be making new highs, including me. But you cannot anticipate news and fundamentals. Here's something else you cannot anticipate. You cannot anticipate or even begin to understand that you understand it, because I don't 100%, all of the adoption that's going to take place in crypto this year. When we were coming into the end of the year and we were approaching $1 trillion market, I said to people, with this much momentum, when we hit $1 trillion, within 2 weeks, we're going to hit 2 trillion. Now, I take that back now, because we didn't actually hit $1 trillion. And the next time we do, we'll have to look at what is the momentum in the market to see if that's actually going to take place. We'll see then, and we'll talk about it then. I also was thinking that in 2018, we could see between 10 and $15 trillion marketplace. That one I'm not taking back. I'm not taking that back at all. We're going to see what this market's going to do, but I understand that there is several $1 trillion just sitting on the sidelines waiting to come in to Bitcoin. And I can tell you what they're waiting on. They're waiting on a break of that line right there. When that line right there breaks, then you're going to see it. Or some people might claim that line's already broke from here, and we've been now down grinding on the line, okay? So in that case, the follow through will come as a trader when you break that line. So whichever one you want to look at, doesn't matter to me. But when that happens, you're not only going to see a lot of money flow into crypto and into Bitcoin, which it'll be so much money that it'll have to flow into the altcoins. Not only is that going to happen, but you're going to see a domino effect. Right now, what the market has done, let me just get rid of all these draw tools here. What the market has done right now is it's created the effect that I believe they were looking for. You guys think about this. When a dog chases a car, man, I'll tell you, you can even speed up a little bit and that dog will run harder. But if you stop your car, that dog just stops, and after about 10 to 20 seconds, it loses all interest in your car, and he goes over and starts sniffing the ground looking for love messages from the last dog that came through. Well, this is the way that crypto is, and it's the way all assets that are being traded and invested in are. And that is that if you can slow it down and stop it, people will lose interest. And that's what's happened. They've slowed crypto down to a crawl. When I say they, you guys use your imagination. Now, let me tell you where I think we might be. I'm going to give you guys a couple scenarios. And I'm going to blow this up just a hair so you guys can see this a little better. And we will just get to the section we need. Let's take it there, let's make it a little bigger so you guys will be able to see really good on your end. There we go. All right, so if we take our original support line and we put that back in, we'll take that out to here. A couple things happened back here at the, let me find the 5,000 point mark. Yeah, so right there. If you guys notice, just under $5,000, I'm going to put a line in there. And it's going to be right here. You guys remember me teaching you about the bouncing ball? And how the bouncing ball typically will break above the ceiling here and then come back down and bounce off the ceiling, which it did here and back to here. However, notice that it didn't really give you a proper test of the line. The reason why is because, oh, guess what? Bitcoin's bullish. Same thing over here. We haven't really touched our line there. We came down here and made a higher low. This could also have been a fake out, but maybe not. I'll show you that in a minute. And so a real test of 5,000 has not actually happened. As where if you go look at some of your other highs, like back here at 3,000, let's just put another line in right there. I'm going to show you guys this. We had a real bounce right there. We actually came down. We even had some blowover below the trend line, and we touched and we bounced off of 3,000. We'll call that 2,900 and some change. There we go. So this is more what I would call a real correction, okay? And we actually tested all these areas here, 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 and then we had the breakthrough up to here, created our new ceiling, back down to the old ceiling, now the new floor, back up, breaks out, and then guess what? It doesn't actually test. It didn't test it there, and it kind of tested here, not so much. So my point is, your next level of support is about 49-ish and some change. Let's say 4,900 to 5,000 is a good area for you guys to think about. However, to test that, we really do have to destroy this trend line. So if this trend line breaks, I think our first stop is around 4,900. And from there, we could have another major capitulation like this right here, where you get a total trend reversal, okay? If we do that, so far, we have bullish patterns, we have prices bullish, we have a low, we have a higher low, and even as of right now, we still have a higher low. We've got to break down to, what is that there? Let me take a look at that price point there. That would be 72.40. I think we're about $100 off that today. 73.26 is our low. So almost $100 more to get back down to that 7,200 from where we've been today. So where do I think that we possibly are? As you guys know, I'm an Elliott Wave guy, so I'm going to share a little Elliott Wave with you. Not too much. I'm just going to kind of keep it simple. So I think we've done an ABC correction. And we started here. We did a 1 up, a 2 back, a 3 up. You can see right there, this had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves in it for that 3. Then we did a 4 back, and we did what's called a truncated 5th wave right there. Now, that right there would be, if you guys have taken my Elliott Wave course, which we just released last week, that would be a 1 up to here. That'd be 1. Then we did an ABC retracement to here. I'll draw that in a minute. That's 2. And then let's just say 3 is here for now. 4 probably comes back to maybe 14,000-ish. And then 5 goes for a new high. And we'll move all this over. Now, if you guys took my course, you understand that in these waves up, this is one here. One had 21 waves in it, right there. Then you're going to have an ABC back to do 2. That's here and here and here. One of the ways we know that we can track the correction is typically on your C wave down. If your C wave has 5 waves in it, it's not over. Well, that doesn't mean if it has 3 waves in it, it is over or it's not over. But if it has 5 in it, it's definitely not over. There will be more correction. So as of now, we don't have 5. So I'm not looking for more correction, but that doesn't mean we can't have more correction. So from there, we start our 3rd wave up. Our 3rd wave, and let's move it over, is going to be rather intense. And it will also have many waves in it. It will have subwaves. So let's just call this wave 1, wave 2. We come out of here probably up to about 13.8. Isn't that interesting? I think we all know that timeline. Probably back down to test those for 4, and then a 5 could potentially take us up to our old highs, like so. And that's going to be 1 up, 2 back, 3 up. Now we come back and we test these same areas right in here. And then we go to new highs. And guys, all this can take place so fast. Look over here. It can take place so fast. This could literally be, if it started today, 30 days from now, you could do every bit of what I'm showing you and more. I mean, we are talking about Bitcoin here. So this is the potential that I see that we may have. Now, what unvalidates that? Let's take that one little section here. Excuse me, guys. Let's take this one section here where we just started out. There's some rules in Elliott Wave. And here's the rules. If this move here is in fact one up, and then we definitely have, for example, a 2 down from there. Let's call that 2. And we did make a higher low. The first rule about Elliott Wave is that if you are in fact in your wave 1 and 2, wave 2 will not go below wave 1. It just won't. If it does and it gets invalidated, then this is definitely not 1. So we're going back to what I said to you guys earlier. If this, then this. If this, then this. So if our price does not go below here, which is kind of our support zone, 59.50, and we do rally out, we can always come back to here anytime and say this was wave 1, and you can start your 144 wave count to complete your next big wave up. That will always be, that was our 1 wave on whichever wave we were in. Doesn't matter. So the point is once it's validated, it's validated. So if we have this up as 1 and this back as 2, now we're looking for a new 5 wave count. The new 5 wave count would start from here and go 1, 2, 3, rally out of here. And this would be a nice little rally, okay? And then maybe an ABC sideways and rally some more. But my point is that as this happens, you can validate or invalidate. Now, if we were to, for example, go down to that $5,000 point right there, everything I'm showing you is invalid. It's all invalid. You'd have to look at a whole new count. And the new capitulation down to 5, or even down to our lower support line here of 2,900, would now be your new area to start your account from. We would do all of this all over again. All over again. One other thing, as I was talking to you guys, when you're in correction and you're looking at that wave down here, if that wave is in a 5-wave pattern, then again, your correction is always not over. And ours was not. We had in the middle of this wave down, this whole wave down, we had an ABC, and we had an ABC, ABC, ABC down. So this did all this in ABC fashion. Had it done it in 5 waves, I would definitely be saying we're going down even further. But it didn't. So that's why I'm not saying we are definitely going down. Now, I think it's also important, since you guys are looking at this with me right now, is that we take a look at these areas right here. These are the areas that you're going to have to get past on the way up. So there's your areas. Okay. So when we break here, see, we have a lot of room to rally to here. We break here at the 12. We're going to go into the 14,000 zone. If you break this down on a 4-hour chart, you can probably find a lot more areas right in here where candles start and stop. Let's call it right there. Okay. So as you look here across the board, you see all these candles starting and stopping and their wicks touching right there. Oh, isn't that something? 13,878. Interesting, right? So these are your areas we've got to get past. Now, for me personally, when I see Bitcoin do as I'm expecting, I'm not sitting here saying it is going to do it. It's doing it. It's going tonight. It's going tomorrow. As Bitcoin does finish this entire market cycle, if it's done now, hallelujah, let's get on with it. If it's not done and we go down to a new low and then it cranks back up, guys, I'm not looking for $20,000 as a target. I'm looking for a wave much bigger than 20,000. We can draw it as big as you want to. Let me just go show you guys this. Oh, sorry. Let's put this back on trend line here. All right, let's pull that in right there. Let's draw this out to here. Now, you guys tell me exactly how big this is. This is from 3,000 to 20, so that's 17,000. So when you add 17 and 10, that brings you to $27,000. And the break of this pattern, let's call it $25,000, would give you a $17,000 run. And that's just for starters. All that is in the trading world is you taking a chart pattern, which we have right here, the blue lines, all of these, okay? And also there's another pattern in here. I'm not going to get too complex with you guys today on this because I'm not trying to teach Elliott Wave, but there's an A, B, C, D, E pattern that's ending right here. It could end right here at E, even to a new low. If it ends to a new low here, which uninvalidates that drop, it's from here that we would start the next 5-wave pattern because we did not break there. And this would be one, and then our 2 back would actually be over to here. Sorry, I moved the wrong one. Let's move this one. Our 2 back finishing wave 2 down would be there. And actually, yeah, this would be over here. So this would be an A, B, C down to here. And from here, you would rally out with 5 waves. This also completes an A, B, C, D pattern on into E at the bottom of that pattern. So look at this overall pattern. When you see this pattern, this whole big pattern in blue, when you break out from your breakout point, which for us would be roughly let's just call it $9,000 would be our breakout point, okay? You go back and you see this pattern as it started from here, and you add that distance, which was $17,000 to 9, and that's going to give you your next target. So you're going up to $26,000 from there. And that's kind of your minimum target. It doesn't mean, oh, that's the new high and that's where we stop. That's just your minimum target. You guys know, I've already said, the next big run in Bitcoin, I'm targeting $30,000 to $33,000 as a point where it could potentially stop from there and retrace where? All the way back to our old high right here of almost 20 grand. So you guys remember that. Wherever Bitcoin stops on its next run up, wherever that stop is, don't forget, we've got to come back and we've got to test the old, just like we've done all the way up, we've got to come back and we have to test that old ceiling now as the new support or the new floor. So remember that if you're sitting at 33,000 and you're going, yeah, baby, we're going to 100K this year. Yeah, you probably are, but don't be all sourpuss when the market drops back to 20 grand and you're in a $13,000 correction and you watched, 3.5 million flow out of your portfolio. That's just part of the game. It's just part of it. Now, the one part I want to reiterate before we kind of wrap this up is I wanted to reiterate to you guys the portion that I see most technical traders never even discussing. And that portion is this. Very few traders ever even talk about the fact that you have to consider the rate of adoption with crypto. And while, yes, they have stopped the car, and yes, the dog is just kind of over there sniffing around in the grass now and not chasing the car will start again. When this pattern's over, when we either break down to a new low and create more capitulation, or we break out of this pattern and we go up as I'm talking about here, and that's my anticipation. Notice I said anticipation. I'm anticipating it. I'm not saying it has to. I never say it has to, ever, on any of my teaching. And if you're listening to people that tell you, oh, this has happened now and it has to do this, run, Forrest, run. Those people are in a cognitive dissonance that they know exactly what's going to happen in the market. And I've been doing this almost 20 years, and I've not met one person that knows exactly what's going to happen. Unless you can forecast every piece of news coming from China and Korea and Australia and the UK and the United States, unless you know all that, you don't know, because those things can change a market in a second, and it's the fundamental side. The other part of the fundamentals in our market, which you don't have in traditional markets, is the fact that we do have a beginner adopter stage starting that will lead into a mass adoption. You have to factor that in. You have to think to yourself, man, if I think this thing can go down to 5, or if I think this thing can go up to 33, you have to factor in it might go to 48. It might go to 64, because you can't anticipate. For example, right now, the traditional equities markets, man, they are getting hammered. And if you guys, just as a little side note, for those of you that have watched my candlestick charting course, you know I had a little 10-minute segment in there where I expressed gaps to you guys. Go and look at the even 1 day, 12-hour, or 4-hour chart on the, you can look at the S&P or the Dow Jones. The Dow Jones is a good one to see as well. There is gaps everywhere, everywhere. This is what we don't have to deal with so much in cryptocurrency, which is very nice. The gaps is where you get your butt burnt, because that means your market is closing and opening. And our market doesn't close and it doesn't open. It just runs all the time. So anyway, just a little side note for you. But as those markets are selling off, who could have anticipated that? The only one I know that could have possibly anticipated it is Cliff High's Webbot. Not Cliff High, by the way. Cliff High's Webbot. Cliff is interpreting data to the best of his ability after 20 plus years of doing this. But guys, it's not Cliff High coming out and saying, I say this. He's coming out and saying, I anticipate this because my data has been interpreted by me as being this. He himself will tell you when people say, why should I believe in that? He says, you shouldn't believe in it. So other than his Webbot, I don't know how anybody could have anticipated that the traditional market is going to be crashing right now, and those people are going to be looking for smart money. There's only one smart money left on this planet, and you guys will get that as you go through crypto, and that is crypto. It's not necessarily Bitcoin, it's crypto. Now, just to end this up with you guys, I want to show you one other thing. Let's scroll down here to Mr. Litecoin. All right, and let's blow this out a little bit. And a little more. You've got another nice little market cycle, okay? On Litecoin. Looks a little bit different than Bitcoin, but definitely a market cycle. But here's what I want to show you guys. Let's go back, all the way back, a little more, to January 1. All right, our low price was $4.35. $4.35. So 1,000% profit would be $43.50. Okay? And if we'd have made it to $430.50, that would have been how many percent? A whole lot more. Let's call it right at 10,000%. So let's just, for round numbers, consider that in the year of 2017, Litecoin went up 10,000%. How much did Bitcoin go up? 2,000%. Is there anybody talking about that? No. Nobody even mentions it. I'm mentioning it. I'll tell you why I'm mentioning it. Because, in my opinion, you're going to continue to see Bitcoin out in front. Why? Because Bitcoin's already up in the 10,000, 20,000, 40,000, and people are going to be going absolutely gangbusters over the fact that the price is high. However, if you're an investor in crypto, or if you're looking to make a profit in crypto, do you want to make 10,000%? Or do you want to make 2,000%? I know the answer. The answer is either or, right? Obviously, we want to, well, we'll take either one. I'm not that picky. However, I really believe what you're going to continue to see year after year is you're going to see Litecoin in the background, kind of quiet, except for people like Joe and Bix and whatever on alternative media. But I'm talking about the things that tend to move the market. JP Morgan didn't come out on YouTube and say, oh, Bitcoin sucks. He came out on CNBC. So from that perspective, when he came out on CNBC and he said that, from there, what you're looking at is the mainstream news media where things make a difference. You're not just looking at YouTube, okay? So that's kind of what I'm talking about. You're going to continue to see, in my opinion, year after year after year, you're going to have a continual basically display that Bitcoin is the king and oh my God, it's at 100,000 and everybody will be up in the air about Bitcoin. Why? One simple reason. They're emotional. People get more emotional about the price of something than and it gets them in that emotional frenzy. And then guess what? Their brain doesn't have the ability to make rational decisions. I'm showing you guys a rational decision. Would you have rather been in Litecoin last year or Bitcoin? Most people will dump their altcoins to run over and jump in Bitcoin so that when their friends at the next get together say, oh man, did you see Bitcoin went from 5,000 to 20,000? They go, yeah, man, I was in that. I got in that, man. I captured all that. It was awesome, baby. Right? And they got bragging rights. You know the bragging rights I want? I want the bragging rights to say I got 10,000% this year. Well, take a look at Litecoin and do your own math. On January 1, let's go to it here. Right there. On January 1, we had a low price of $220. Now, did Litecoin have any fundamentals last year? No, zero. Wait a minute, you mean it went up 10,000% on speculation? Uh-huh, sure did. Went up 10,000% just on speculation. Just on speculation. At 86 bucks or whatever, it was up 2,000%. And on and on and on. So take the low point on January 1 of $220. Don't look at today's price. It's year to year. By the end of this year, I truly believe, I've been calling for this a long time, we're going to see a $20,000 to $25,000 Litecoin. Litecoin had no fundamentals last year, meaning that they didn't have Abra, which is huge. Guys, you realize that that's the first platform that has taken and replaced a fiat currency with a cryptocurrency. First one. So history was made right there. Most people don't even get that. They're just like, oh, okay, great. Abra's going to use Litecoin. It's way bigger than that. When people catch on, they're going to go, wait a minute, what's a clearinghouse? Well, they're using Litecoin as their clearinghouse to settle all their transactions, not the US dollar. That is massive. Just massive. Okay, so last year, no fundamentals. This year, we have Abra. We potentially, it looks like, have Amazon. We potentially, guys, just because LightPay is selling their company doesn't mean that that deal's gone. I know it seems that way, but what if they come out a week from now and they say, okay, the transaction's over and Digital Asset Group bought LightPay? Or what if they say MasterCard bought them? See, most people hear the news and they go, oh, that's all dead. This doesn't mean that's dead. They may be making it look like it's dead. What if next week there's an announcement nobody can predict, no chartists, no anybody, and they say, okay, LightPay has been sold, MasterCard bought them. What is that going to say to the world? So just remember, Litecoin has fundamentals this year. Litecoin's being mass adopted this year. Litecoin grew last year on total speculation. Total speculation. So this year it's going to grow on something else. And let's don't forget the fundamentals of there's more people hodling Litecoin. You want to talk about hodling Litecoin? When Abra's app gets up and rolling and their whole network's rolling, do you realize how many Litecoin that they have to hodl and keep within their network to settle every transaction? That means all those Litecoin are coming off the table for trading, which means that Litecoin will do exactly what we've already seen. Litecoin went from $80 to $420 in 40 hours. Somebody please go find a spot where Bitcoin had that kind of growth in 40 hours. Did not happen. It's called the Lightning Network for a reason. This bad boy moves like lightning, and it's going to continue to. Every time it pops, you're going to see a massive pop in Litecoin. They'll get bigger, they'll be more volatile, and they'll even move faster. So guys, I'm just saying to you, keep these things in mind when you think about dumping, for example, your Litecoin to jump into a Bitcoin trade because Bitcoin just happens to be moving first or whatever, or you want the bragging rights of Bitcoin. Be smart. Use your head. Math always wins. And I just showed you the math. I also wanted to show you guys on this chart one other thing. Do you see right here where Litecoin had its trend line right there? Do you see how it came down and dipped below it, making everybody bearish, and then took off and went up and up and over and up again? How many people right here do you think sold their Litecoin in a panic sell mode, only to look back at it a few days later and go, holy crap, the price is right back up? That was capitulation right there. I'll blow it up for you. That was capitulation. Now, do not be surprised, ladies and gentlemen, if you see something like that on Bitcoin. I've been talking about it with you now for the last couple, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever it's been. Is right there's our line. that we've been talking about. Let's go on to this one. Maybe this one. There we go. Don't be surprised if Bitcoin does this. And you see these out here and everybody gets bearish. It does not break this low and it takes off like this and it goes crazy. Okay. Joe, I think that's about it, buddy. I think, did you have any questions, Joe? Anything else you wanted me to cover?
No, you just talked about every single thing possible. That was fantastic.
All right, buddy. Well, I guess get this out to folks and let people know too that in our trade group, Joe, if the market does break down, we've kind of already given our trade group a potential scenario of how they can profit from that. Because just because it breaks down doesn't mean you just have to ride it. Riding it's not a bad idea. Just hodling your coins is not a bad thing. I recommend it. But we've given people a trade plan that if they want to, in some ways, double or gain 50% more Bitcoin than they had, that there'll be a way to do that. We've laid that plan out for them to the T. And so, being a part of the trade group can be very valuable. We recently got tons and tons of emails in from folks that basically said, hey, while you haven't been giving trade calls, you've been helping us to get in and out of Bitcoin. And we now have 100. I had one guy who said he had over 200% more Bitcoin just by trading all the levels that I told him to trade and get back into Bitcoin and look for this area as a target. So they've been buying and selling Bitcoin the whole time. What that means for them is their account in dollars may not be any higher than it was before, right down here. However, if down here they had 5 Bitcoin before and they've done all this, now they have 10 Bitcoin at that price. So when it gets back to 20, where they once were with 5 Bitcoin, now they're back at 20 with 10 Bitcoin, or they're back at 20 with 15 Bitcoin. And some of them, it may even be bigger than that. I don't know. I don't know what everybody's Bitcoin is. I don't probe. But the point is some of them have doubled and tripled their Bitcoin just following our Bitcoin bounce trades that we've given people nonstop. And we always give it to them days in advance. This is not something we come in after it's happened. We tell people, if this, then this. If this, then this. I just think people should know that, Joe, that we're kind of giving that info in our trade group.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Well, hopefully everybody listening enjoyed it as much as I just did, and have a future to look forward to. Because again, talk about the Wall Street cheat sheet. My goodness, it's not a spitting image right now. We may go sideways for a little bit and then look out. It's going to be right back in your face with explosive force. So really need to see that stuff in real time. I rather just look at an image and then think that the market can do that. It actually is doing it right now, and we can show it. It's so cool.
Yeah, and one last point, Joe, is that I didn't show this, but I will now. If we draw our Fibbo here, look at where our 88% line is. Isn't that interesting? It's sitting at 49.11, just where I was talking about. If we get this breakdown down into here to a new low, it also goes back and it actually touches to the dollar this point that we never ever tested. We never properly tested 4,900 here or here. But over here, if we do get that breakdown and we end up in depression down here at some point, hoping we don't myself, but if we do, it's also right at the 88% fib. For those that took my Fibonacci class, I've showed people that in crypto, I've personally noticed that most market cycles end themselves around the 0.88 line. It's either 786 or 0.883, one or the other. So I just wanted to just add that one little point there. I forgot to show that.
Cool. All right, everybody, till we meet again, I'm going to end this video so that we can, you guys can watch it as soon as possible, just because it's so informative. And on a nice down day like today, people just need to see this stuff so they can really understand it. We decided this isn't going to be just a trade call group only video. This is good for everybody. This is really educational, but we will let the trade call group know before I upload this here shortly that it's coming. And that'll be that. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop this video now.